I'm here joined by 3 of the ambassadors who have thankfully agreed to be involved in the Westerly Club. So welcome, all of you.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Evening.
So we're going to come around and just kind of introduce you all and hear a little bit about you and the reason why you want to be involved in the Westerly Club. But before we get started, I just wanted to explain really a little bit about why we're doing this. We know that statistically, men's mental health is in real dire situation at the moment, and I think it's 76% of suicides are men. So we've decided to set this group up. It's been something that we would have liked to have done face to face, but unfortunately at the moment not quite as possible as we'd like it to be. So the idea is that the Westerly Club is there to support men. It's to support each other. So the term Westerly comes from Grimsby and the fishing, the trawlers, where if there was a bad catch or there'd been a bad fishing trip, you would lean on your Westerly. So that would be your mate, somebody who might buy you a pint if you're lucky, somebody who'll be there to support you. And this is the idea and the concept behind the Westerly Club. So we're having to launch it at the minute as a private Facebook group so that we can get the community started and get everyone together to just do something right now. And with a view to it becoming and evolving into what it needs to be. So that might be group meetings, it might be all sorts of different things that come out, but also to make sure there's lots of content going into the group that's helpful, that we all respond and support and recognise and talk about the things that are going on for men and the reasons why they don't come forward for help. So I'm joined tonight by 3 people. So I'm going to come to you, excuse me, first, Steve, just to tell me a little bit about who you are and what you do, really.
Oh, hi, I'm Stephen Bennet, head chef or chef patron, as my missus likes to say, of Healing Manor Hotel, and otherwise known as the Lincolnshire chef.
Thank you. Brilliant. And being well behaved tonight, so that's part of his...
I was warned.
Okay, Chris, I'm going to come to you next. Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, my name's Chris, obviously, as you've just heard. Yeah, 27 years old and plasterer, so, you know, working in construction, just wanting to get going on this thing, really. Get the ball rolling and really see if we can help out.
Thanks, Chris. And Vince, how about you?
Yeah, hi, so Vince Weavers, local guy, 42 years old, so husband, dad of 2. Local, work for Orsted, also co-founder of Ebb and Flow, based in Cleethorpes. So quite busy, and similar to the other 2 chaps, just really enthused about getting going with the project.
Yeah, I'm really pleased you've said yes, actually, all of you, because I'm really passionate about men's mental health and raising the profile. But unfortunately, I'm the wrong gender, really, to go out there talking about it. So I really need some ambassadors and advocates to be able to talk about it from experience. I can talk it from a therapeutic point of view and being married and having a 16-year-old son, as well as two girls. But I can't talk about it from absolute experience. So thank you for being involved. I really appreciate it. And your enthusiasm as well, which is great. So if I come to you first, Chris, what is it that why have you wanted to be involved in this? What's kind of driven you to be involved?
Well, you know, without going into too much detail and, you know, personal stuff, working with someone who's been affected, you know, by that as bad as you can be, and seeing it firsthand was really the first introduction I had of it, which is probably the worst way you can be introduced into men's mental health. And then just as the past few years have gone, you know, being a bit younger and obviously quite active on Facebook, you see a lot of, not a lot, but more than you should be, of, you know, young lads, you know, struggling really bad and doing the worst thing possible. And it shouldn't be happening at this age or any age. And it's got to a point where it's kind of becoming a bit of a joke now. You know, people just need to be able to talk. And the more, I don't think social media has helped anything either, because people want to put on a persona, and I think that's made it worse. People, you know, like to act like they're living the life of Riley, and, you know, behind it, a lot of people aren't. So it's going to be good to have somewhere where they can actually express them feelings.
I think it's a really good point on social media that we're seeing a lot of people who present a persona. It's like your brand, your personal brand. But it's not necessarily authentically what's actually happening behind the scenes. And that creates quite a lot of pressure, doesn't it, for young people, I think, that they've got to live up to what they're putting out there, and actually it's not the reality.
Well, of course, yeah. I mean, I don't really watch the Love Islands and stuff, but if you look at that, you think these people. I know there was the young lad that was 27, my age, that might have looked like he was absolutely living the life, and ended up committing suicide. It's really bad mental health, and it was to announce. So, it's hopefully we can get somewhere where these people can talk to other lads.
Yeah.
Instead of having to put on a brave face in front of everyone.
Yeah, I think that brave face has a lot to answer for, doesn't it, really?
Yeah.
Thanks, Chris.
No worries.
Steve, how about you? What's kind of driven you to be involved in what we're doing?
Well, apart from getting hoodwinked. But that's probably half the problem. Like I said earlier, it's very much like men have a habit of just carrying on. And if I probably didn't get hoodwinked into this, I probably wouldn't do it, because we don't talk about it, because it's easy not to talk about, because you're a guy. And I'm not sounding sexist. You've got to be strong. You've got to support your family. You've got to do this. You've got to do that. And everything else kind of just gets forgotten. And then you just completely forget about yourself, because you immerse yourself in everything else. So you just become second part to everything else. So you as a person, you aren't really there. Even as a business owner, for example, I've got 50 staff here. It's it's a very lonely process just from thought through business, never mind adding your personal life onto that. You don't see your kids enough. You don't see your missus enough. You argue your missus. My work with my missus, it's kind of that whole point of having some form of being able to have that release with somebody else. I think that's probably what I'm looking for more than anybody else. And like Chris said about social media, like I particularly don't like social media, but that sounds big. I'm not trying to be big. Like, people are very interested in what I do or what's happening at the Manor or whatever. We've got this followers. All I want to do is just sit in my pants, have a pizza. I'm not bothered about. I'm not bothered about
that tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna get out of the country anyway. So, but it's just that process, isn't it? But people just see these wonderful lives of, creating lovely food and having a lovely life and having a lovely experience. But actually, in reality, I couldn't think of anything worse. I don't like eating my food. I like to have a bowl of Cocoa Pops at night, and not speaking to my missus, because I'm a bit just knackered, because I'm just mentally drained.
I think that's so right as well, that it's having those pressures you've talked about there, that's what I see a lot, is that the expectations, either expectations of society on what men should be and what we've grown men up to be, but also then what is internalized as being men's responsibility. So that is that provider stuff, that protector, all of those different roles, which don't really allow for emotions. Because if you show emotion or vulnerability, then you're not doing it well enough, and then that's contradictory to what you're told to do.
Yeah, I think it's almost men have, and I've done it, and I think through, because I'm 40, I'm 40 plus now.
Thank you for the number there.
Yeah, I know. But men are just a bit more socially retarded. I don't mean that in a horrible way, but like, you disattach your emotions from things because that's the way you're brought up to be, whether it's from your parents or whatever. But like, your empathy towards your missus, your empathy towards other people, it's there, but it's just very different. You're just almost a bit subject to, I don't know, like your mental emotions aren't connected like they should be. I think that's
a really good point, because I think one of the things that can happen is that actually, if you don't have a language to express it, because you don't know how to do that, then how do you know how to do that? It's like, if you haven't had it, it's perfectly actually reasonable that you wouldn't be able to express it or talk about it or even create time to have that conversation, because putting yourself first actually isn't what you're taught to do. It's to put yourself last. Yes. So you're always going to be bottom of the list, and then actually to talk about what's going on is actually really hard then, isn't it? Because that's not what you're programmed to do.
No. The thing is, like with men, I do it naturally, that I'm quite a mickey taker out of things. So if there is awkward situations, I take the mick out of it. I almost flip it and make it into a joke, because I've kind of disassociated my emotions off it.
Yeah, and banter is massive, isn't it? It's just, I know it is with you, but generally speaking, in a lot of the male-orientated industries and sectors, banter is what is used to get the point across in some way or another. you know, whether it's taking the piss or, you know, something derogatory or whatever it might be.
I didn't know we could swear. I was being really good.
Well, I'm in. That's it now. It's happened. I help myself like a fishwife. Thanks for that. Vince, how about you? What's your kind of, you know, what's your drive to be involved in this?
Yeah, okay. Well, so I mean, again, I'm in the Over Fortis Club as well, similar to Steve. So I think it's the journey, really. It's the journey that I've kind of been on. So you know, growing up, I came from a broken family, so I was in a female dominant household. I was the only male. So actually, on reflection, I was probably more connected with my emotions than probably a normal guy would be. So and then, you know, I finished school and went into work, went into industry, and I had to kind of put on this this bio persona, this hard male exterior. You know, for me, that journey only really kind of began when I started work. And again, working locally as an apprentice down the bank. And I think throughout my kind of 20s and 30s, that really kind of, well, probably 20s to early 30s, that stuck with me. And then I kind of, just through opportunities at work, managed to be in you know, in the right place at the right time, and really kind of have a bit of a connection with mental health awareness, understanding self, trying to understand others as well. So for me, you know, I think it's about having that conversation. Don't let things kind of escalate to a point where, you know, you're forced into a corner that you've put yourself in. It can be broken down very quickly, very easily with a conversation. And again, I think this is a place where people will find over time that there'll be different types of people. So people who you can connect with, you know, either on a banter level, a mates level, you know, have a bit more of an emotional connection. You know, Tony will tell you, I'm more connected now with myself than I've been for a long time. I think it's something to do with having kids, but you know, often we will sit and we'll vent, we'll chat things through. Yeah, I cry. You know, if you know, as Steve said, if you've got a business, you're working full time, you've got a lot going on, you're trying to balance stuff. I think every now and then, a little bit of a vent, letting that pressure go, having a conversation, normalizing the situation, chatting things through, it really, really does help. And I think, you know, really important what the guys touched on there, social media. I watched a documentary, The Social Dilemma. It's scary. I mean, unfortunately, I've kind of, social media wasn't around when I was growing up. So everything was real world. So you can actually see, you know, you have a conversation with people, you talk to people. That isn't there now. And I think a lot of people either, like as we just said there, they either create an online self, a version of online self, and they have to kind of live up to that and defend that. But also on the flip side of that, those things are very, very easy. You know, with a few conversations with the right kind of people, come away from it, connect back with the real world, real people, and it'll help. It helps normalize. So I guess, in a nutshell, I'm really interested in connecting with people and, you know, helping people through a perceived perceived situation, because I think quite a lot of the times that is where we're at. It's a perceived sense of we think we're higher up in terms of consequence than we actually are.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I think you can almost convince yourself. We call it in mental health, we call it catastrophic thinking. So you convince yourself that the worst case scenario is what's going to happen, and it's so convincing. Your brain can completely find evidence to get you ready for the worst case scenario. And actually those moments don't very often happen, the worst case scenario, but we can spend a lot of time getting ready for them and wasting a lot of energy and capacity to do that. And I think also those moments where we're actually feeling really low or struggling, they don't stay. We're not designed for us to stay in that place all the time. It doesn't feel good, but it doesn't last in that place consistently for a long time. And I think you're right about talking. That, I mean, I'm a psychotherapist, and my business is built around helping people to talk and to be heard and to work through what's going on for them. I'm also a massive advocate of people asking for help. I also know I'm really crap at that. So I have to really make an effort, because I will hold a lot, because I've got a lot of people I'm working, work for me, and a business that I'm growing. So I hold a lot, but I know that I have to talk about what I'm holding, because otherwise I would go under. And I've got a lot of people that I'm supporting and they're reliant on me. And I think that's similar, isn't it? That actually talking about something, admitting that actually I don't really know what to do about this, or I'm feeling overwhelmed, it's hard to do, but it's really necessary to be able to feel better.
Yeah, and I think it's that whole coining that phrase, problem shared is a problem halved. It really can be. It really can be. The thing that you've put the catastrophic thinking on in your own head is after a chat with a few of the close people that you trust and that you've gained that kind of relationship with, that you can have that type of conversation with, you can normalize that situation really, really quickly.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it just dissipates the feelings that are attached to all of those things. So in terms of the Westerly Club, what we're looking to do is grow a community and to get, to see where it goes, really. And the community will dictate the route that we go down, I think, as we develop this. What would you like to see the Westerly become, if you like, as a community? I'll come to you first, Chris. Is that okay?
Yeah, no worries. Just become a helping hand, really. Literally, that's what it's got to become, isn't it? That's just a place where people can talk openly, and not be embarrassed or have to put a brave face on, or, pretend to be that male persona, just wants to be a good place with good vibes, good banter, just a good laugh, where people aren't afraid to come on it and feel shy about posting something or worried, just kind of like a free spirit kind of thing, where people can just be themselves on there and talk, basically.
Yeah, and we were talking as well, weren't we, that some people might not feel that they want to do that, but they can still be watching and listening.
Yeah, and people can just sit back and watch it and feel better for watching other people talk, kind of things, like in that kind of way as well. So
yeah, definitely. How about you, Steve? What do you think?
Yeah, just to kind of touch on again what Chris said, I think it's probably more important that the small things, it doesn't, I know you talk about like the catastrophic going to that level, but actually like putting it down smaller, just smaller things of someone being kind or a kind word actually generates not to get to that point. So actually having some banter with someone, smiling, laughing. Everybody forgets that laughter is a really good cure to be healthy as a person. And it is for me. I can't think of anything better. Go down with my mates, having a pint, having some banter, like me and Vince have before. Just to have that, but have that with two guys that you connect with actually means more, because like you can have it, when you're with your missus and stuff, but like if you really connect with someone that's in that relationship that you have one-to-one, that you can offload, and it's only small offloads, and they don't even know you're offloading. Do you know what I mean? And that's the connection you need to have, and that's, I think, it's going to be more important for people not to get to the point that they have to be pulled back from the edge. Actually, just that well-being of being, respected, being kind, and being just a decent human being in life.
Yeah, it's being human with another human, isn't it? That's actually what it comes down to. Yeah, absolutely. How about you, Vince?
Yeah, well, echo what the guys say there, really. So I think for me, it really it starts with the conversation, whether that be online, just so that we can kind of, people can get a sense of that it's a place to come to. Guys can get a sense that it's a place to come to, where you know the irony of this. It's on Facebook, it's on social media. Put down your bio persona, put down the mask that you're wearing, and I think what Steve just said there. An online conversation could turn into you could meet people that you connect with on there, and go out for a pint, have a laugh, sit. I mean, I know this crazy world that we find ourselves in, we have to sit at a distance away from each other, but talk human to human, go for a walk, have a chat, have a pint, have some banter, and that human conversation, face to face, eye to eye. It's exactly what Steve just said there. It's worth its weight in gold, in my opinion.
It is. It's time, isn't it? It's actually just time. That's what you're talking, time with somebody. That's what it is. And I think all those things you just listed there, what I'm hopeful is that as we go through, that we'll be able to offer opportunities for people to be able to engage with those things, and get rid of some of the barriers to, coming along to do something different or try something that might be good as a mechanism to cope or whatever it might be. That it will...
Sorry, there's just one other thing. I just thought, just talking about all this, there's one thing we haven't really touched on. I think people might be a bit reluctant about this because of what they do or where they are social standing. Then none of that actually matters, because at the end of the day, I wouldn't care if Vince, for example, was a dustbin man, because actually he's my mate. And actually I'm going to go for a pint with him, and I like him, I respect him, and I've got a connection with him because of that. And it's nothing about social standing, job, whatever. It doesn't make any difference at all.
No, and I think that's...
Yeah.
I love that about the Westerly Club, just as a name, because I think it's just about leaning on and being there for each other, isn't it? It doesn't matter any of that. And I know we do a lot of work with police, and I know that the police really sometimes would be very resistant to coming along to something which isn't for police because of their standing in society, their job, their role, everything else. And I totally understand that, because it can put them in a compromising position. But this is about people. This is just about being a person as you are, not necessarily about what you do for a living or what your title is. That's the other part, isn't it? That it changes. You develop and grow, and what you do for a living or what you do alongside that, or what your role is or whatever, what people's perception is of you is separate to actually who you are as a person. And I think that's what we want to get to in the club, that it's just about being genuine, really, and authentic. Yeah,
I completely agree.
Okay, so we've got, my screen went all funny there. Is there anything else anybody wants to say in terms of the Westerly Club, or anything that you haven't said that you think would be useful to say?
Am I right to go first? I really got to shoot. Is that,
yeah,
no, right? Just obviously, hopefully, it does become what we want it to be, and I'm looking forward to meeting people I don't know, or people I've met tonight. It's already going good. Hopefully, I think. On the guys I met on the roof for the pictures the other day, and everyone tonight, and I think you're gonna have a good bunch of blokes that really know what they're talking about and can really help.
Yeah.
I'm maybe there for the hopefully the younger kind of people that hopefully will be coming in as well. So
we've opened it up to 16 plus.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So hopefully, if I can be there for or chat to the younger people, but. Chat about anything as well. I'm open to talk about anything. I am, so
yeah.
I'll sit and talk all day. So it should be good just to have a chat. And if we can help one person, then that's
and that's actually the bottom line. If we help one person to do something different, then it's been worth it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I must shoot. If
you go, that's fine, Chris. Thanks. Right. No, that's fine. You go.
I like my steak. When it's ready. I've just had the text saying you say he's ready, so I don't want to be.
No, Steve's with you on that, so you go.
But, yeah, I appreciate it, and I appreciate meeting you all, and hopefully, we'll meet each other in person soon.
Yeah. See you later, Chris.
Right, see you later,
Cheers, Chris.
Take care, all of you. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Cheers.
Take care, Chris. Cheers.
Bye. Bye.
Okay, so just before we finish, how about for the two of you? The same question I asked Chris actually.
Do you want to go first, Vince? Because I've gone first all the other times. I don't want to stay left right.
First, what? Sorry, just repeat what the question was there.
I've lost the We were talking about what the group could become and, you know, where it might end up. And I think also those ideas of sharing strategies and coping mechanisms and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Sorry. The reason I said that is about the same time you said your computer went glitchy, my phone did the same. No, first of all, for me, a place to come, as Steve just said there. I think we're humans. We're not wired to be in a particular, you know, group. We're not, you know, it's about everybody. Inclusion is what it's about for me. Knock down all of the barriers. Then, you know, I mean, like for me, I love nothing more. A pint is great with your mates when you can. I just love going for a walk on the beach, and again, I love chatting. I love talking stuff through. You know, me and Steve sat down and had a heart to heart a little while ago. You know, that just happened off the bat. We just got talking, and for me, that's how it needs to be. It needs to be natural, and we just create a place where people can just let go of what they think they need to be and just be.
Absolutely. I can't wait to be able to get people together and do, you know, kind of whatever it is, like you say, go for a pint or whatever it is, just so that it just grows from the community and on the Facebook group. Like you say, ironically, we're using social media because we have to at the minute, but be able to offer all sorts of different creative options that people can go along to and just meet people and have a good conversation. It is about good conversation at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody wants to go at paddleboarding, I'm happy to get my board out, get somebody on the board next to me, go for a chat. That's one of the most peaceful places in the world to be. It's really good.
I don't like being cold, Vince. I will have to come, but I can't swim very well, and I don't like being cold because I work in a kitchen.
It's not going to work.
Get wrapped up, Steve.
You can wear 3 wetsuits. You look great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have them dry suits or not?
No, we don't have the dry suits, but you can get yourself in a dry suit if you didn't want to get wet.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
The aim is not to get wet, though.
Yeah, but I'm going to fall off. I know I am. So make it different.
The aim is not to get wet, but you definitely do. That's that. Okay, I'm going to leave it there for tonight. So thanks ever so much for giving up your time and your time for the Westerly Club as well, and for your commitment. And we'll just see where we go and go from there, really. And I'm really looking forward to it. I think next week's going to be great when we launch it, and we'll be all over social media and, you know, trying to get people involved. So thanks for your involvement and thanks for saying yes, really. And we hoodwinked Steve and that went well. So that's all good.
That's all great, isn't it? There is only one other thing I think we do need to kind of touch on just quickly before we go is I think we have to kind of almost put that everybody has a story. So that story has to be respected. So even though it might not be said, there is a story behind everyone, and life is for living, not for anything else. And I think that's probably more important for us, I think the
stories are really important. I think it's also how can we help each other?
Yes.
What helps as well, because, you know, and I'm hoping that when we do these conversations in the group and things like that, that we'll hear stories that will get people thinking and talking and, you know, open up options around conversations, really, because I think sometimes you can feel like you're on your own with something and you're the only one who feels like that. And you hear someone else and go, hang on a minute, that's exactly how I feel.
Just touching on that, I hope that Vince knows if he's ever in trouble, if he's, I don't know, he probably wouldn't want me to come help him paddleboard, but if he did because he was short, then I would, and I had the time, I would come down and help you because he's my mate, and because I'd go help him because of it.
Yeah.
And again, I know we've kind of had that conversation, haven't we, Steve? And you know, I always say to people who you connect with, it doesn't matter. Pick the phone up, give us a bell. I'll be there.
Yeah,
I'll be there. And I think, you know, that's in fact, I was listening to the radio on the way back from where I was earlier on at the docks, and there was a conversation about 2 strangers that met during lockdown, COVID. And the one thing they had in common was death. They'd both lost somebody recently, and again, it's that connection. So I found somebody who's had who shares a similar part of my story, and that's how it begins. You know, that connection that drives the conversation, and then, you know, ultimately that'll develop and turn into something more. And then all the while we are communicating, talking, interacting, that sense of anxiety, fear, whatever's driving you to be in that bad place, it's gone.
Yeah, it's peer relationships, isn't it? It's being able to support each other. There's something good about helping someone else as well. Even if you need help yourself, you can help somebody else, and you get a good feeling about that. But also just taking time out, and like you say, shared experiences, I think, are massive. If you can talk to somebody and they go, I really get it, it just makes such a difference.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah. So thank you. I'll leave it there and let you all go and get something to eat. Steve's got to go and cook tea for lots of people, and
I'm getting out of there.
Get out before 10 o'clock.